Hello and good evening from me. Once more I'm off shopping. We were supposed to be getting a delivery of food tomorrow, but plans changed. The delivery service is off. Well, not off. The delivery guy can't make it, so I am off to do some shopping just to keep us going for the weekend. Anyways, so I said I was going to do a Facebook Live for people like the idiot who blocked me. So hopefully he will be lurking somewhere in the background. He might have a fake profile and he can watch, listen and learn something. Right, this is going to be quite long, but that's fine because I'm doing my 3 shops trip. So I've got half an hour to kill. Right, so basically, as you see, my posts are all about Meghan Markle and Harry. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against demons. Right, so you will notice, if you're paying attention, that more often than not, when there is anything major going on in the world of media and entertainment, because this is the high altar. People, I don't, but people watch TV and plug into the mainstream, and this is how they get fed. This is how they get indoctrinated. So I choose, I mostly, when I'm watching YouTube, I do it for research purposes. But I don't watch TV. I gave up TV more than 20 years ago now. So I was way ahead of my time. A side note, people are talking about charity, that charity is a rip-off. I have never given money to charity because, and I'll go back to the 90s, so we're talking 30 years. And it's this emotional blackmail that people have become accustomed to now. I remember I was in Clapham Junction, and I believe it was the NSPCC. There was some guy who approached me asking me for money for the children's charity, and I said I don't give money to charity. I don't. And I can track my history going back. I do not. It doesn't matter what the charity is. I don't give money. So he then tried to emotionally blackmail me, as they do, by telling me, how would you feel knowing that a father is abusing his daughter? And I said to him, well, if you tell me where he lives, I can arrange for someone to go and sort him out. Because that is how my mind works. I don't, money, people think money is the answer to all of the world's problems. I think the solution is confrontation. You deal with people and they generally know how to behave themselves. So, with regards Miss Markle, the reason why I post in the way that I do, as I said, when there are certain things going on in the world, is because it's a spiritual thing. Because, as I said, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers. In other words, against demons. So, what I'm doing is, because this planet Earth is also my house, I live here, I am not going to sit back and wait for other people to come and do the dirty work for me. I will do it myself. Because if we all sit back and do nothing, this is how we end up with Meghan Markle's. The woman is nothing, and suddenly she's got this platform where the President of the United States, the former First Lady of the United States, and all these people are crawling out of the woodworks and saying how stunning and brave she is, when she is a liar. Anybody who's got a bit of discernment about them will know that this is somebody sent from the pit of hell to come and cause disruptions on a spiritual plane. Therefore, when you see me posting on Facebook, don't come to me and tell me to stop it. What are you doing? Because you are going to experience some of my weapons. I have specialist spiritual weapons, which I'm somewhat proud of, and I have to say I don't always get to practice them. Rather, I don't always get to do target practice, but I thank you very much when you come and try to distract me or try and turn me away from what I'm doing. Right, so there are two gentlemen that I wish to address. The one has blocked me. I screenshotted the conversation because people will come, they don't know what the hell is going on, and they want to try and tell me, well, this one was telling me I'm sort of like obsessed with color, and what's the other thing? I'm obsessed with color and about the poison in me. I think, what the hell are you talking about? You see, and I have zero tolerance for people who are not on the same level as me, but who think or who presume to come and try and lecture me. I have no problems with people at the various levels where they are. I am happy to live and let live, but every man must know his level. So this idiot, Matthew Hobbs, he ran away before I had a chance to beat him up, and which is what I was going to do. I was going to do a public flogging just to make an example of him, right? And the biggest disgrace, I have very little respect for the majority of men, because we live in a world, in a society where men are no longer men, right? And I cannot respect a person who is less than what he should be. So if a man is running away from me and calling me a bully, that is not a man. I don't know what it is, but it is not a man. Also, Louis, not my King Louis, Louis St. Clair. I say this sometimes when I'm in a discussion with somebody. If you don't have spiritual energy, if you don't have discernment, you're gonna get confused, because a lot of the things that I post in the written form, if you don't have discernment, I will write in such a way. Sometimes, not always, sometimes I'm plain, but sometimes I will write in such a way that it will confuse you, and you will think that I'm attacking you. But a lot of the times when I'm responding to someone, I'm not responding to the individual. I'm responding in such a way that whoever comes along and reads can get something out of it, right? Whether it be that they need a slap around the face, or they need a pick me up. I post things in such a way that I'm not just speaking to one person, to the individual. In other words, we have a saying, one hand can't clap. And sometimes I thank people very much for coming along, because it gives me an opportunity to have a sparring partner, someone to bounce off. So don't necessarily take things that I say at eye level. Sometimes, this is why I say sometimes things that I post go way over people's heads and they don't get it. No, I'm not obsessed with Meghan Markle. She's a demon from hell, and somebody like that, the woman has no discernible talents. She has no business being on a public platform telling people how to think and what to do. And there are weaklings who would call somebody like me a bully, trying to stop people like me who see right through her from, if you like, preventing people like her from rising up. I am telling you, if I was around in Hitler's day, there would have been no Hitler, the wannabe world leader. If I was in his friendship group, if there was such a thing as Facebook and Hitler had been around, I would have put a stop to him. And people may say, oh, you think highly of yourself. Unfortunately, we cannot see spiritual energy, But you see, when I'm dealing with people, I deal specifically from a spiritual perspective, and people run away from me. I can make people run. This is why in one whole year, even when I was visiting my sister in hospital for 8 straight weeks and going to hospital appointments with her, at no point did anybody succeed in getting me to wear a mask. If I say I'm not going to do something because it goes against my principles, I am not going to do it. So when people come on Facebook or wherever else I meet them and they want to try and tell me how I need to conduct myself, it doesn't end well, right? So that is the explanation. Now I want to continue on with this thing. There's something, I don't want to go into it, but it's to do with a policeman and a murder. I haven't really been keeping track of it because I tend to focus on what I need to focus on at that time, and what I need to focus on right now is Meghan Markle, because she's a very dangerous person because she has a whole machinery, like I said, President of the United States, former First Lady behind her, right? So it's not just a social climbing, narcissistic, no talented Z-list grifter. There is some other machinery behind her, pushing her, and we have a public platform. If other people want to be, honestly, black people disappoint me so much. Any person who comes along and say they champion black people, it's like I was saying to my cousin who called me earlier. There was a point where people used to say being gay is like being black. You don't hear that anymore because gays have got all their rights, right? So this is what happens when people are looking to get somewhere in the world. They latch on to black people. So you've got currently Black Lives Matter, and there are some stupid black people who still believe it's about them. You've got sportsmen and women kneeling, doing all sorts of stunts as if that's going to do anything to better mankind, right? So you've got all of these public gesturings going on that means sod all, and of course black people are very easily pleased and doesn't take much. So along comes Meghan Markle, who's never identified as black, but she's certainly identified as white, right? The records are out there. Her resume is out there for people to see, where she's rated herself as Caucasian, and no time has she put she's black, and yet all these black people see her as their princess. This is why the black race cannot rise, right? Just too small expectations. Anybody come along, they'll have them. Now, so I digress slightly. So I want to continue. Like I said, with this police officer, I will tell you what that is about. I believe they want to put a curfew on men, so men need to stay I'm only sort of glancing and seeing things, right? So I've not investigated, so I don't know the full story. But it seems they want to put men under a curfew. So what will happen? They're trying to all right, basically what they're trying to do, they're trying to cancel men, especially white men. And in the same way that they want to defund the police in America, it's not just an American thing, it's a worldwide thing. It's the same spirit that's governing the world. So it's the entire world they want to bring. It's like they want to bring they want the world to fall. And so the type of people like the Meghan Markles, there are people out there who will gladly oblige because they're just power hungry, money, power, fame. And so you'll get these types of people, and they'll come and they'll play the suicide card, the mental health card, the black card, the race card, or whatever kind of card. And of course there are people who have victim mentality, which is something that they're trying to encourage people to have throughout society. So when this fool who blocked me before I could publicly flog him comes along and calls me a bully. Not many people do that, but I've never been one to surrender to the requirements of political correctness. I don't do political correctness. So all this cancel culture, victim mentality, everything going on out there in society that is acceptable, I don't do any of it. I don't respect any of it. So if you're gonna come as a man to me and you're playing your victim card and accuse me of bullying you, I'm gonna destroy you. But you see, this one, he ran away. This is why I say it's a spiritual thing. The devil knows how to take his people out before you take them out when you're in a spiritual war, right? So the whole aim is to cancel men. So now people are going to be running scared of police officers. They're going to be looking at police officers as the enemy, because they've already been doing that with the way some of them have been conducting themselves with, if you like, administering the rules of the laws of lockdown, sort of in a heavy-handed kind of way. So if you stop and look and study what's actually going on, nothing is by chance. And like I said, I live in this world. I know how I want to live my life. I want to live freely, to be able to come and go as I please. And the only way for me to do that is for me to stand up and make an account for myself. I don't know about anybody else, but clearly the rules of coronavirus lockdown are not affecting me beyond the point where I cannot go out socially because everything is closed. That is the only difference, but that's neither here nor there for me, because I'm the type, I can happily survive by myself at home. I don't need to go out. I can stay at home, and if I need to be quiet, I can do that. So really in this whole year, it's not really affected me. But for me to be able to maintain my freedom, it means that I have to kick ass. And it doesn't matter who the individual is. Like Louis St. Clair asked me, do Harry and Meghan even know who you are? Probably, because I can tell you the media reads my Facebook page, right? And they have their people who go around looking to see what people are saying. I hear their fans are very ferocious, and they like to attack people. It is interesting that I've not encountered any of them, because I am the type, you bring 10 people against me in a spiritual fight, 100 people, I will back myself to deal with all of them. And the devil, like God, the devil only uses people. And we've had enough battles for him to know that it's a futile battle bringing his people to my door, right? So, like I said, the only thing I'm interested in is preserving my lifestyle. So, at such a time, let's, for argument's sake, say that the way that the society is going is towards imprisonment. If everybody else wants to be in prison, good for them. But I'm not even going to say I'm going to go down fighting, because I intend to continue as I am. I use the example of Lot in Sodom and Gomorrah in saying that even though there was all of this filthiness going on around him, for some reason he managed to survive it and didn't get involved in it. Right? So I believe if you have any semblance of spirituality about you, if you live in such a way that you, I don't know, I guess I talk about self-improvement and I talk about spiritual development. So if you live in such a way that you can develop your spiritual weapons, or you can acquire some spiritual weapons in due course, not so much that you will become invincible, but there will be fewer and fewer challenges. And like I said, you can bring 10 people, 100 people to my door in a spiritual fight, and I will kick all of them asses simultaneously, right? And that is how we do war. It's not about going fist to fist or gun to gun, knife to knife, right? When you see people with the knife crime and all of that, these are people who have nothing spiritual about them. They are weak, and this is why they have to walk with weapons. And the first sign of anything, they've got to fire the first shot, or pull the knife and stab the person they're having the argument with. They cannot. Look, it's what? Gosh, I don't even know what time it is now. It's late. It's what? Nearly 9 o'clock. I'm on the street. I feel. Like I said, at 2 o'clock in the morning, I can walk the street even if there's no one around, and I would still feel safe. It's like I said, it's a spiritual thing. It's the energy that you walk with. Nobody is going to come and trouble you if you are spiritually, if you have your spiritual defenses up, basically. So that's where I'm coming from. I'm not obsessed with Meghan Markle. I have contempt for people like her. They are nothing, and it is because we live in a spiritually wicked world where people, like I said, black people are very disappointing. They idolize anything. It's like saying Michelle Obama is the most beautiful first lady ever. No, she's not. Michelle Obama is not an attractive woman, and you make yourselves look stupid when you say she's the most beautiful. Right, so it's things like this. If people could just get over the narcissism and just sort of look at things for what they are, in situations where we need to do better, we should strive to do better. And if we're doing well, then we can still, you can always still improve on it. So, like I said, as for me, I love when I get an opportunity to go head to head with idiots, because that is when I get to try out my spiritual weapons. So now I'm going to leave this here, and I hope you guys are enjoying your Friday night. Normally I would be out doing my thing, and it's been it's been more than a year now. The last time I went out, I believe it was the end of February, so it's like 13 months now since I was last out socially. But we live with it. So you guys have a good night, and I'll pop back onto Facebook later on if there is anything interesting. But that's where I'm coming from with Meghan Markle. And just to say again, they're trying to cancel men, and especially white men, because the way it works, it's white people who do the fighting. You see, like they talk about white saviors. So whenever Africa needs help, it's white people going over there, giving them aid and so on. So the point is, they're going to knock out the white man first. That's the aim, and then the rest will be easy pickings. Right, so the last ones are going to come for the black ones, because as you see with the Black Lives Matter, some of them still haven't figured out that it's not about them. And with Meghan Markle, some of them are still so deluded, believing that they have their black princess. So it is what it is, and I will say see you guys later. Take care. Bye bye.